When talking about an aesthetic physique, we often refer to it as an X-frame. This is a nice, wide, broad upper body, small waist, and legs to match. So this creates a sort of superhero look. And I think one of the main components of that superhero look is developing a beautiful upper back. Now the upper back is going to give you that illusion of a smaller waist. And the reason I say upper back and not the entire back is because it kind of depends on where your lats insert. And for me, they're a little bit lower. So if I was to do a ton of low rows and really work on the lower part of my lats, then I feel like that could in fact increase the size of my waist. So for this video, we're going to focus on the upper lats, the rear delts, the rhomboids, and the traps. So we're working on developing that width and then also the thickness. So muscle thickness and giving you a little bit more definition and really putting together an aesthetic physique. Now you think about old school lifters, old school bodybuilders talking about training angles, and the higher up you pull or push, the higher up on the muscle you're going to train. And this is, for the most part, pretty accurate. And you'll see as we go through the exercises, some of them are basic exercises, but we've tweaked them just a little bit, and you'll find that they're more effective this way. So let's get into these exercises. First exercise is a VBar Lat Pulldown. Now for this, don't go terribly heavy because the goal is to stay upright but arch the upper back and pull to the collarbone. So because you're using your upper back, you're not using the entire lats, you're not going to be as heavy as you're not going to be able to go as heavy as you normally would for regular lat pull down. So the goal here is to work on getting that isometric hold mid-rep, and that's going to help you build muscle. It's going to help keep that focus on the upper back, and try not to use momentum at all. Try to pull through the elbow, keeping your wrists straight, nice pure pull. Control the negative portion of the rep. So make sure you're focusing on both pulling with the upper back and then controlling the weight back up with the upper back. This is going to help you really sculpt and gain muscle exactly where you want to gain it. Next exercise is a cable rope to chest pull. Now, I love using the rope because it gives you a little bit different range of motion than you would normally get from a handle. So you're able to separate. As you get that rope close to your chest, think about pulling that rope apart. This is going to help target the upper back. It's going to hit those rear delts a little bit, and kind of the same idea as the last exercise in that you want to pull high. You don't want to pull low. This is going to hit that upper back, and then also make sure you're giving a nice pause mid-rep, pulling through the elbow, squeezing those shoulder blades together at the top, and do not use momentum. So as soon as you start leaning forward and then leaning back, it's going to use a lot more lower back and a lot less upper back, which kind of negates the purpose of the whole thing. So for everything here is 5 sets of 8. And this is to help build muscle. So really focus as it gets more difficult, those last 1 to 2 reps. Think about using proper form. If you can't use proper form, lighten up. The next exercise is one of my favorites, mainly because it was one of Arnold's favorites. So here, this is an easy pullover or dumbbell pullover. And you'll see that I'm arching my back quite a bit and making sure to press the delts, the rear delts, into the bench. And I feel like this really helps isolate the upper lat. And what you want to do is hit the upper lat kind of right below the shoulder, kind of that underarm area. And for this, think about almost pushing the weight to the sky rather than pulling it. And I think that will help target the lats. And then also think about keeping your elbows soft, but not changing the bend in your elbow whatsoever. Because here you're using a little bit heavier weight. So if you were to do some kind of tricep extension, number one, it's going to hit your triceps. And number two, it's really too heavy to do anything with triceps. So try to use your elbows, your arms as merely a stabilizer and focus all of your effort on the lats. Secondarily, this is going to work your chest a little bit, but I found at this angle, by pinning your shoulders to the bench, that it takes the chest out of it for the most part. So try not to use momentum. Try to focus on almost exploding on the way up and then controlling that negative. The next exercise is a chest-supported dumbbell row. And here the bench is set at about a 60-degree angle. So this higher angle is going to help hit higher up on the back. And for this, rather than pulling the dumbbells back, think about pulling the dumbbells upward. And what this is going to do is it's a perfect setup for hitting that upper back. And then once you get mid-rep or to the top, think about squeezing those shoulder blades together. And again, with any pulling exercise, you want from your elbow to your hand to be one solid line. So don't bend at the wrist. Try not to bend at the forearms. This is going to be a compound set of the rows, and then I've got a couple of 10-pound plates, and I'm going to do a reverse fly. So for the reverse fly, think about keeping your chest up slightly, and the motion is somewhere in between a T shape and a Y shape. So if you think when you raise your arms and you raise your arms directly out to your sides, you're forming kind of the letter T. And if you're raising them forward just a little bit, you're forming the letter Y. So be somewhere in between the two. And what this is going to do is it's going to hit a little bit of lats, it's going to hit your rear delts, it's going to hit those rhomboids, and it's going to hit a little bit of the traps too. Try to control this motion. Try to spend as little time as possible at the bottom, because of course you lose tension. When you lose tension, you're not really making any progress. So 4 sets of 10 for both of those. The final exercise is going to be at a bit of an angle. So this is sitting at a 45-degree angle, single handle, lat pull down. Think about the entire motion being on one single plane. So everything should be in line. So rather than pulling straight down, you're going to pull out a little bit, and your elbow should be in line with your ear. And what this is going to do is it's going to work the top part of that lat. So if you really want nice wide upper lats, this is an amazing finisher. So I start on my left side, which is the weaker side, and I let that dictate the number of reps I do on the right side. Now make sure with any single arm exercise that you're lined up exactly the same on both sides. So for this, neutral grip, pulling the elbow to the side, hand in line with the ear. 4 sets of 10 here. And again, if you can't really get those last couple of reps at a certain weight, don't be afraid to lighten up and increase that time under tension. So don't be afraid to add some pause reps. Really connect. This is the last exercise. Make it count. This is amazing for building that upper lat area. Give these exercises a try. If you love them, tag me on social media. I really enjoy seeing your results and seeing your hard work. If you like this video, please consider subscribing, and don't forget to click that little bell. You'll be the first to know whenever a new video comes out. Thanks for watching. Until next time, train hard, y'all, and build that superhero physique.